Pavilion.
Pavilion. P-A-V-I-L-I-O-N. Pavilion.
Congrats.
From Morgan Park School, a 7th grader. Chris, congratulations. You did a great job. Congratulations. Nice job.
I think it was very useful for the administration to do this because it makes it harder for Europeans who oppose the war to resist it. After all, Iraq has flouted all of these resolutions, and they are working to undermine the inspectors. They're not cooperating with the inspectors. They're actively undermining the inspectors in violation of the Security Council Resolution 1441.
Professor Thayer says the speech was a strategic move, one that will rally more support from those in the U.S. as well. While UWS professor David Obermiller agrees, he says the speech and the war itself is deflecting attention from the real issue of dealing with al-Qaeda. He says the speech presents a double standard of morality.
The danger is if the United States goes into this war in a unilateral fashion with only a few countries on board, it will weaken America's position in the long run in terms of trying to get other countries to cooperate with us. And we will have this image abroad as being bullies, as being moral hypocrites, that we will only act when it serves our interests, when we are making the claim that these interests serve everyone. And
you all know that we have made a commitment to try our very best to shield the K-12 classrooms from funding cuts. The grants that you will see on this sheet do not directly relate to the K-12 classroom.
In the Duluth School District specifically, the business director says the cuts total about $1 million. He says there are at least 5 programs that suddenly will not have the state funding they have relied on.
It's really difficult to make adjustments in the middle of the year in terms of the disruptive effect on the students and their families.
All we want is involvement. We just want to be involved and included in the process.
Being a police department, then you expect that you will continue that various, and there's also very strong support within the community. And as an opportunity to look at, and the role certificates that Duluth congratulates Roger Waller on the occasion of assuming command as Duluth Police Chief, February 10th, 2003. Congratulations, and it's an honor for me to be able to present to you a pin that says Duluth Police Chief. Congratulations, Waller.
The explosion of a main natural gas line in Silver Bay scared Sherry Howdick right off her couch.
I heard this big loud boom, and then my house started rattling, the windows were shaking. And then I jumped off the couch and I ran to my dining room window and I looked out and I could see it orange, just this big orange glow.
Sherry says she called 911, but the line was busy. Now she's helping emergency crews by keeping her heat turned down.
It's getting a little chilly in here, but we're doing fine.
While residents wait, pipeline safety crews are out making sure workers are following safety procedures and trying to keep heat flowing out before the cold weather wins.
We've got 20 below weather, that's the biggest thing, and 60 below wind chills. So, we've got a very biggest concern is to try to keep gas supply to the city of Silver Bay and the residents.
And the Silver Bay fire chief says they did have a backup plan just in case.
We've got some wheels in motion to give them places to go. If their house starts getting cold and they want some heat, the two schools and the Minnesota Veterans Home have, committed that they can receive people and have a place to put them to keep them warm.
Northern Natural Gas officials say the company has attached propane trucks to the valves on the line, so city residents won't have to go completely without heat while the repairs are made.
When the hookup is complete of the natural gas trucks, the valves to the pipeline will be shut off and the isolation plan will then begin. At that point, with the valves shut off, the fire should burn out.
The plan has worked so far. The fire is out and Silver Bay residents like Sherry won't have to look somewhere else to stay warm.
The only backup I have is a fireplace, and I don't even have any wood in my backyard to put in it, so.
Issues for the board that I'm going to leave with you that Clay can go through at some point. All right. So you could triage.
And how much of a grant did you get?
This one we did out of operations. This is about a $500,000 project. The night of the press conference, and Clay Peterson, who... How can we do it and do it maybe more cost effectively, but still meet the mission, and in my case, the mission of the health department, which is to protect, maintain, and improve the health of all Minnesotans. A donation of $25,000 for Moose Lake Hospital.
Oh, how nice.
And it's like nobody knew about it. It takes care of the unit and with specialized additional training. And that's one of the things now that's happened with our emergency room grant, our outreach grant.
Okay.
Has been that we are now in the process of documenting competencies for those people.
Then also custom.
They're the Arrowhead Manufacturers and Fabricators Association, or AMFA.
The purpose of AMFA is to promote the industrial growth and economic development of the Arrowhead region. And what we're trying to do is work together as a group of business owners and managers that are working in strategic alliance with one another, trying to complement each other's business and bring business to the area that otherwise wouldn't be here.
DMR Electronics is part of that organization. AMFA has helped DMR find new clients.
We also have used them as a resource as vendors. Some of the members have become highly valued partners to us in providing services and products to us that we can then in turn
pass on to our customers.
There are a variety of businesses, educators, and development organizations involved in AMFA. There are 61 organizations altogether.
We originally had the wedding planned for June, and I decided that since we were getting mobilized to move it up to right away because we don't know when we're going to go.
Well, the vaccination process is actually very simple.
These health workers are getting the smallpox vaccination. This is the beginning of a 3-phase process which could eventually lead to the public getting vaccinated.
We don't think it will come to that.
Even with talk of a war and a heightened security level in the U.S., Northland officials aren't worried about being unprepared.
We could actually vaccinate people immediately and have a level of protection.
A smallpox attack has a possible mortality rate of 30%. Immunizing health officials early is a preemptive strike.
The planes flying into buildings on 9/11 were unthinkable, and smallpox attack is unthinkable too, but we're trying to be ready.
Of course, smallpox isn't the only weapon available to terrorists. Are we prepared for radiological and chemical weapons as well?
Well, it depends on the particular agent. As far as communicating with each other, knowing what's going on, getting information into remote areas, rural areas very, very quickly, yes, we are.
Everyone that we talked to really had a horror story about driving through Miller Trunk.
Bumper-to-bumper traffic, overcrowded lanes. It's all a reality of Miller Trunk Highway.
It's a prime route from the Duluth Port, it's a prime route to the Duluth Airport, and it also is becoming a very heavily developed commercial area.
Growth in the area has prompted city and transportation officials to come up with a plan. It includes 36 different projects. The plan reduces the number of access points without closing residential driveways.
It means finding alternate routes, finding better routes, combining access points.
It also includes better traffic light timing, more turning lanes, and creating a circulatory route in the mall area,
which will allow people who are going from one business to another business be able to use these circulator routes rather than having to intermingle with the traffic on Highway 53.
The projects would cost $80 million and would make the road sufficient until 2025, but funding hasn't been secured. Officials say they wanted to get the process started in case funding does become available.
So we want to just be positioned in a place where we're able to take advantage of it should it be approved by the governor and by the legislature.
And cast my eye upon the smoke sky, with a fog dedicated to wars and warfare, and the us to
a stronger spirit to let the past rest and be.
This year we decided to support the Poets Against the War movement and tried to get poets out to read their poems about war or pro-peace poems.
Soon the leaves will be falling like leaflets that encourage the grass to disarm. The trees will be frozen like fathers who howl and hold out their arms. The shadows of children in Baghdad will be frozen to hospital walls, while many of us are out shopping, fingering things at the mall.
Edit? Yeah. Oh. Is it hiding down here?
Beth Lindbergh is always quick to help out her 5th grade students at Northwestern Elementary in Poplar. After all, it's not always easy to write a report about European explorers.
She's just really nice to everybody, and she helps us a lot when we have problems. She's just a really good teacher.
Amanda Brown found a way to say thank you. Her nomination resulted in a Golden Apple Award for her teacher. Awesome. Students here also enjoy a different kind of work.
We have to apply for a job, and then the teacher gets to pick who gets to do each job, and we get paid for it every week.
Students fill out a written application for several jobs and then transform the classroom into an office of sorts.
Every last day of the week, I put in the salary.
Some students are bankers handling the classroom accounts. Others are auditors to check the books. Some are in charge of cleaning the chalkboards. Students get a weekly salary, play money to use later for an auction.
They pretty much take care of all of their behavior, all of their late work, the milk, the chalkboard, the assignment notebooks, everything is all taken care of by the kids.
Some kids are even police officers, writing up fines for bad behavior.
You gotta keep a good eye on them, and they're sometimes sneaky, and it's just fun to do.
Amanda agrees.
I think it's really fun.
She's a police officer too, and says she's learning a lot.
It really helps them with their work, and it also helps them understand real-world applications of jobs and just basically responsibility.
Maybe one of these days these students will find a real job that's just as rewarding as Mrs. Lindbergh's job is for her.
I love teaching. I don't know, I just feel like that's where I'm supposed to be.
In Poplar, Kim Kaiser, News 6.
Spending increases include a significant rise in criminal justice spending and an 8% increase in health and human services, plus a 3.5% increase per pupil in K-12 spending.
Providing K-12 education is perhaps one of the highest responsibilities and obligations of state government. It's a constitutional obligation in the state of Minnesota.
But the budget isn't all increases, there are cuts. Plenty of them. The governor wants to cut local aid to cities by 22%. Duluth could lose $10.5 to $18 million. Mayor Gary Doty says that means cuts in all aspects of city government.
Nobody is going to be exempt, and that includes police, fire, public works. They are going to have to be a part of the resolution of the problem.
But local aid isn't the only thing to go on the chopping block. Governor Pawlenty made cuts to a number of state agencies and a series of other cost-saving moves. Some of the measures include a 9% cut in higher education, a 15% cut to most state agencies, a shift in state spending over the next 2 years, and a freeze in wage increases for public sector employees.
We need to make sure that our public employee wages are not contributing to a run-up in government costs right now.
I ain't got no records or none of that. Go home.
We're all linked in this together, and if one group gets cut, it wounds the entire fabric of the social safety network. So it's a concern for all of us.
Well, I've gone downhill this year. I did good for up until this year.
Joe Scholar is a 79-year-old retired mine supervisor. He worked in the taconite mines from 1957 until 1983. 6 years later, he was diagnosed with asbestos pleural lung disease.
No, I'm not bitter. I worked in the mines. That was my choice. I wasn't forced to work there.
But Joe also has friends that are diagnosed with mesothelioma, an asbestos-related lung cancer that is showing up at an unusually high rate in men in northeastern Minnesota. Between 1988 and 1999, 81 cases were reported. That's nearly double what health experts would expect. Now that prompted a $1 million study to find out what is to blame. And according to a draft report, the study concluded that exposure to commercial asbestos rather than taconite dust is likely the culprit.
I think the findings were reassuring and basically said, you know, it doesn't absolutely rule out, but it basically, to me, indicated that we're not seeing an increased danger due just to the exposure to taconite dust.
The findings that came out are irrelevant and don't tell the whole story.
That's why Joe continues to push for a study to examine the safety of taconite dust. He feels there is asbestos-like minerals in taconite fibers, and that is what got him sick.
If I didn't have this, maybe I would question it. But I have it, and I know how I got it.
People want an explanation for why they're sick, and they'll come up with one, and they'll believe that no matter what the evidence for or against. It's just a real strong human need. We want to know what caused it. You know, something bad happened to us. And so we latch onto something and that's it.
They have been with me an awful lot. They have helped me an awful lot.
Before finding the Northeastern Center for Independent Living, Debbie Fratsky lived in and out of 6 different nursing homes and 2 state hospitals. These days, Debbie has her own place with her own things and her own hobbies. She doesn't need help from the folks at the center as much now, but she says they have always been there for her, and she worries about a future without them.
They do help me an awful lot, so that will, you know, be really bad for me.
Valerie Laporte, director of the Duluth branch, remembers Debbie fondly.
We helped her increase her level of independence, help her learn how to establish herself in her own home.
The Northeastern Center for Independent Living is one of 8 centers in Minnesota. It covers 8 counties, or 24% of the state. If Palenti's budget goes through, the organization could lose $200,000 in funding and have to decrease the amount of people it serves drastically.
Our numbers will go from serving 725 individual consumers down to 50.
And when all is said and done, Duluth may not even have a branch anymore.
This office here in Duluth will be shut down, so we will not be able to provide one-on-one services.
One-on-one service that Debbie Fratsky likes having around.
I wouldn't feel as good about that, or very good about that. I like this a lot more.
In Duluth, Edward Moody, News 6.
That's nice. How long did... There you go. All right, where are we teeing off from? Over here, I think.
Nice to meet you guys. I'm Jason Cos.
Hi, do you know?
Nice.
Nice.
Oh, great.
Oh.
And I missed.
I can't believe how much a community can come together, especially for someone that they may not know very well. I don't know what else I can say to thank them enough.
Anytime someone's in need, I think as Americans, everyone loves to help people. So, you know, we don't know who she is, but it sounded like it was for a good cause, and every little bit we can do to help, we feel good about.
Oh, yay! Alright, where are we teeing off from? Over here, I think. And you go.
Nice to meet you guys. I'm Jason Cuss.
Hi, do you know? Nice. Oh, great.
Oh.
I can't believe how much a community can come together, especially for someone that they may not know very well. I don't know what else I can say to thank them enough.
Oh, yay!
Sorry.
Vegas has come to Wisconsin forever if we don't do something quickly. Most people in Wisconsin don't want that to happen.
Republican lawmakers are upset because Doyle has given his administration the green light to negotiate new gaming compacts that would never end, versus the 5-year deals they've had in the past. The new compacts would also allow more gambling games that are now illegal. Tribes have wanted longer compacts in order to secure long-term financial loans for expansion projects. Now, in exchange, the tribe's payments to the state would increase significantly. Doyle is counting on the higher payments to help balance the $3.2 billion budget deficit.
I just think this will be a win-win for the state of Wisconsin and the Native American tribes and tourism in the state. So we're happy about that. All of the tribes, including the tribes in this region, we've had discussions with, and we're involved in trying to work out new arrangements.
Once they understand what will happen with forever compacts, with all the tribes potentially, that our state character and our culture will be changed forever.
Currently, the governor has sole authority to make compacts with the tribes. But late Friday, the Republican legislature approved a bill that would also require the legislature to approve those compacts. Doyle hasn't said yet if he'll veto the bill, which is expected to reach his desk this week.
"11 years ago, the war against Iraq was fought mostly in the desert. If we go back to war this time, experts are saying American troops will almost surely be drawn into Iraqi towns for hand-to-hand combat and guerrilla warfare. The battles will be bloody, and the images will be extremely hard for the American public to handle."
That is the key to Saddam's defense. He wants very much to give the U.S. a black eye or a bloody nose, or preferably both.
Veterans of the last Gulf conflict fear it will give soldiers worse than that. They believe American soldiers will suffer a lot more casualties and serious injuries.
It's going to be a different type of war. You know, it's one thing to fight out on the battlefield. It's a totally different thing to bring it into the city.
The concern that many veterans have is how will an already overburdened vet's health system be able to care for vets who may become disabled in a new war in the Gulf.
We have got a VA system that is stretched right now to the breaking point. What are they going to do with more patients?
That worries Duluth Vet Center psychologist Dr. Michael Mueller as well.
The VA is struggling to take care of the veterans that they have, and they're doing, they're scrambling to make ends meet.
In Washington, U.S. Senator Mark Dayton agrees the Vets Administration is underfunded, and he says Congress has an obligation to fix it.
Well, veterans have paid the price for our freedom, and we owe the veterans the best quality medical care for the rest of their lives in return.
Dayton, who is a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, has proposed a bill he hopes will ease the VA's budget crunch. Currently, the Vets Administration has to pay for all vets who are eligible for medical care. Dayton's bill would require Medicare to pay for the medical treatment and drugs of any vet who is Medicare eligible, even when he is treated at VA health facilities. The bill is on the table, but hasn't come up for discussion as yet. In the meantime, these vets say if we go to war, the American public has to be prepared for greater casualties and greater expense. Barbara Riles, News 6.
How dare you gentlemen tell me how I feel about what's going on in our country? You had no business doing this.
Most of the people that spoke out tonight said the issue isn't about whether they support a war with Iraq. Instead, they're upset that city councilors are making a blanket statement for Ely.
It should have been tabled, and you should have stuck to the business of conducting the city.
Those opposed to the resolution say councilors need to reverse their decision or suffer the consequences.
I will spend a good part of my life's work to ensure that none of you again get into a position where you're in an elected office representing the good people of this fantastic community.
Not everyone disagrees with the resolution. Those who sponsored it say the council should stand by its decision.
And I would like to thank the 4 councilors who supported the resolution last Tuesday, and I hope you stick to your vote as you have that right.
The city council is not expected to decide anything tonight, but some councilors say it will take a lot more than angry citizens to change their minds.
So they could pack the council chambers on Tuesday night and on March 4th with pros and cons, and I'll make a decision on the merits of it, on what I believe, not on how many people are there.
Every morning, June drops 2-year-old Lachelle at daycare as she heads out to her job and school. June is only able to afford the child care, which allows her to work toward a better paying job because of a program through St. Louis County Social Services.
That child care subsidy allows for many of our low-income parents to go out there and gain that experience, try to transition into the mainstream of the workforce.
Child care subsidy is just one of hundreds of social service programs that are threatened by state budget cuts. St. Louis County is facing a potential loss of nearly $13 million, and it might go higher as the state works to cut the deficit. Social Services has been targeted to lose at least $2 million, and department leaders have been asked to look for places in their budget that can handle that loss.
It will be very, very difficult.
Social Services has prioritized its program areas from the most sensitive to the least of the needy.
We're saying here that our very first priority is that children will be safe. Then adults will be safe.
Safety issues are followed by programs that work to find permanent living arrangements for displaced children, then programs to help adults become more self-sufficient, and finally helping needy adults live in the least restrictive situations.
We are at a point now where we are cutting back on, we will begin to cut back on those core functions, and actually it will begin to affect quality of life for people in St. Louis County.
But the head of the taxpayers' watchdog group, FIGHT, says he doesn't believe that's the case.
Some of these people, quite frankly, can live without some of these services.
Brad Bennett says the percentage of county dollars going to social services is too high. More than a quarter of the total $266 million county budget goes to social services.
We have, over the years, lowered the thresholds of people that we provide services for to a point where we are providing more and more and more people that quite possibly could handle being on their own.
Linda Anderson says that's not the case. She points to a budget reduction in the past decade of $2.3 million and a 4% staff reduction. While Anderson says she's confident they can find ways to trim the budget, it's important to see the faces behind the cuts.
It's very important to me, and not only to myself, but other women and men that are on the program that's receiving assistance from St. Louis County.
In Duluth, Barbara Riles, News 6.
But through the unallotment process, Governor Pawlenty broke the law and took the money. Now, none of the Iron Range legislators are lawyers. We're probably one of the only areas of the state that don't elect lawyers. So it took us a couple of weeks. We had to ask some lawyers from the Iron Range to look into this because he went into a dedicated fund to take those monies. And that is illegal to do. Years of the century. But then we had to have a background for each person in there. So, all righty. Well, thank you all for coming today.
We had made our case. We had sacrificed in bonding bills and had to renegotiate this process through and through. And we thought we had convinced the legislature, certainly, and governors, and in the case
50 years of the century. But then we had to have a new technology or else our minds would have shut down. So in the 50s and 60s, through the University of Minnesota and the state, we developed a new technology, taconite.
It's just about airplanes.
This is year 2 for the Lake Superior College Aviation Department fly-in. Held again at Sky Harbor Airport, it's a chance for pilots and students to show their stuff. College officials say the Twin Ports' booming aviation community helps them produce top-notch pilots.
We've got people with the Air Force, the Army, the airlines, and everything else you can think of.
The fly-in began as a way to celebrate the aviation program, but this year planners did things differently to make it a family event.
We started planning a little bit more in advance and talking to more people.
And because it's a family event this year, professional pilots and students aren't the only ones flying. Kids are going to be able to log some miles in planes just like this one today. Went for an airplane ride for the first time today. The rides are provided by the Experimental Aircraft Association. Its members say through their Young Eagles program, they've been doing this for a long time.
We've given somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,000 or 3,000 rides in the last 10 years.
And they say the fly-in is the perfect way to find the aviators of tomorrow.
The intent is to take and provide them an opportunity to see what aviation is all about, and they have a good time with it.
At Sky Harbor Airport, Edward Moody, News 6.
A gauge on a pump had broke off and was actually, the gauge didn't actually break off, it sprung a leak, and that's where the fuel oil came from.
We really do hope that people will listen, will understand what it is we're talking about when it comes to the tax relief, and understand that we are not out to hurt local schools, local communities.
Taconite producers pay $1.75 per ton, but they want that lowered to 80 cents per ton. Industry leaders say they pay by far the highest net taxes of any industry in Minnesota.
We're not asking for anything. All we're asking for is equitable and fair tax treatment so that we can try to maintain the jobs we have and be world competitive.
But some say the Iron Range relies heavily on the proceeds from the taconite tax, and if it's reduced, the range could take a hit.
The reduction that the industry talked about is a dramatic
amount of a reduction, and so I think all of us in the community are going to be looking at what does that mean in terms of how is it going to affect the city, how is that going to affect city services.
Proceeds from the tax give $11 million to the IRRA. $10 million goes towards cities and townships on the range, $19 million goes into schools, and $10 million gives thousands of Iron Range residents property tax relief. Property taxes are significantly lower on the Iron Range than other parts of Minnesota. An $80,000 home in Nashwauk pays about $155 per year in property taxes. The same house in Duluth pays $750. Mining officials say if the taconite tax is reduced, the Iron Range would still be able to survive.
There's a lot of our tax dollar that goes into areas that it could go away and not hurt anybody and really stabilize this industry.
It's a dilemma, you know, but something we're willing to work with everyone on.
Learning any new craft takes a little practice. It doesn't always go as planned.
I did have to redo my first tail back piece once and had to go almost all the way back to the beginning, so I was kind of discouraged.
Still, with little patience, Bev Waddell is getting the hang of weaving a pair of snowshoes.
Once you get that pattern, then you just keep repeating it, so it goes pretty well.
Linda Rademecki is a DNR naturalist at Fort Snelling State Park.
If we'd missed a crossing in the center section where most of the person's weight is being carried by the shoe, those weavings can rub together, and then you could have a broken webbing.
Rademecki is teaching Waddell and 17 of her classmates how to make a pair of Ojibwe snowshoes. The process requires strict attention to detail and good dexterity.
You have to go under and then over, and the only way you can do that is by moving it right to here.
These creations definitely have some decorative value.
If they weren't seaworthy or snowworthy, I could just hang them on the wall.
But Waddell has much more than that in mind.
We've done some adjusting and I think we're set. Kind of goes thump right into the snow.
Their intricate webbing gives snowshoes the ability to float on the sort of deep, fluffy snow that would be impassable without them. That webbing also gives them their stability.
The great thing about snowshoes is that they don't require a trail. Just strap a pair on and you can go almost anywhere.
The places you would avoid if you didn't have them on is exactly where you want to go when you're wearing them. You can get into parts of the park that you don't otherwise explore into.
This part doesn't require much practice. It's as easy as, well, a walk in the park.
Ooh, this is fun.
This is only the second time Waddell has been on a pair of snowshoes. It's the first time for her friend Doug Harbrecht.
It's kind of like, you know, when you're a kid and it first snows and you get out and you get to make footprints where nobody else has been before.
Trudging through the unbroken powder is as serene as the surrounding landscape. Doing it on the product of your own handiwork is an added bonus.
A snowshoe is a snowshoe, and just having made them just makes it that much more fun.
A fun way to enjoy a Minnesota winter. I'm Dennis Stauffer with the Minnesota DNR.
Every family in America should prepare itself for a terrorist attack.
Within the next few weeks, public service announcements like this one will begin airing nationwide.
The terrorists have forced Americans to make a choice. We can either be afraid
or we can be prepared.
This morning, the Homeland Security Department's number 2 man personally delivered an ominous warning about future terrorist attacks.
So these people are determined to destroy our way of life, to harm our economy, and to hurt us.
You'll have a radio, you'll have a flashlight, you'll have batteries.
The PSAs urge all Americans to put together emergency response kits, but their effectiveness is debatable.
We all have to pitch in.
People are taking this seriously.
I don't know what being prepared means, personally, because it's like if they attack, what do you have to do? I don't know if duct tape and some plastic is going to save me.
You got yourself an emergency response kit?
I'm afraid I don't. No.
You worried about terrorist attacks?
Yes, I am, but I honestly don't believe that that's going to be the answer for any of us if it comes to that point.
Undeterred, the experts say preparing for a terrorist attack is similar to preparing for a natural disaster. And no matter what the danger, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Whether or not there is another terrorist attack in the United States, and we all pray to God that there will not be, I can guarantee you this. There will be another flood in Minnesota. There will be another tornado in Minnesota. There will probably be another blizzard in Minnesota. So this is all about being prepared for all hazards.
Rolling into the ore docks in Duluth are railroad cars filled with taconite pellets from EVTAC.
It's been here as long as I have, for 30 years, and it's been a big part of our business.
Gary Sundberg is a dock foreman. He's been handling EVTAC's product for nearly 33 years.
There have been upturns and downturns.
Gary and his crew fear the next downturn will come sooner than they'd like. EVTAC is DM&IR's largest customer in terms of total tonnage and handles all of its taconite pellets.
I think last year we handled about 3.5 million tons of their product through this dock facility, and this year we'll probably have about 1.4 million.
In preparing for a possible closure at EVTAC and a loss of that business, railway officials notified union leaders late Monday that 86 positions could be eliminated.
Obviously, everyone faces this with a tremendous amount of regret.
Yeah, it's going to be real hard on a lot of people.
I think it'll be devastating. It is for anyone who has a job that's threatened.
So everybody's not in a real good mood about that, but they understand, we still have a little time here for them to find a few more orders. If that's going to happen, everybody hopes it will.
Meantime, everyone is crossing their fingers and hoping for the best at EVTAC. It's a future that affects a lot of lives.
It'll have an effect certainly on the whole economy around here. Tough times.
And at this point, you're not mandated to do it, but we really appreciate people to allow us in to at least get a look and see if they're contributing, and we'll help them to get the fix. And what it'll do is it'll help us clean up the lake. And I don't think anybody wants to see the lake polluted.
athletics here. All the kids come and help with the auction. They've been just terrific, helping us haul things and set things out and bring things out for people, and it's just been terrific.
The United States of America has the sovereign authority to use force in assuring its own national security. That duty falls to me as Commander-in-Chief.
We're going to war. It's going to happen. It's scary.
In this argumentative writing class at Fond du Lac Tribal Community College, there are students who support President Bush's actions towards Saddam Hussein.
He's the boss. I trust him. If he thinks that we have to go to war, then we have to go to war.
If he doesn't disarm, he could cause mass destruction in many free countries to do his will over there. And in a way, we're protecting all those countries carrying out the duties that have been set forth for us.
And those who don't.
I'm fearful that it's going to get out of hand. And, you know, history will repeat itself and millions of people are going to be killed.
Professor Steve Bacchus's class has followed the U.S. approach to the situation with Iraq closely. He says tonight's speech is a good learning tool for his students.
We've seen a lot of reasons to go to war, weapons of mass destruction, having trouble with the UN, sanctions. It's a good way to look at argumentation.
By the oath I have sworn, by the oath I will keep. Recognizing
Seated around this table behind closed doors, Governor Pawlenty and his security team have been executing what they call tabletop exercises, role-playing every dangerous scenario they can dream up.
So that we don't have an incident and have be the first time we thought about it be when it actually happens.
In fact, it is all what if. What if terrorists try to take over one of Minnesota's nuclear power plants? These state troopers deployed here late last night will try to stop them. What if terrorists target the Flint Hills refinery? What if they try to slip in aboard a truck? Extra security and thorough searches of carriers going in and out of the plant, begun last night, are designed to stop it. And what if terrorists try to hijack a plane and fly it into the Capitol dome? The fighter jets patrolling the Twin Cities airspace out of North Dakota are assigned to stop it. Pawlenty says frightening as these possibilities are, Minnesotans cannot be paralyzed by the what-ifs.
We were doing this to be precautionary and to make sure that we are being proactive with respect to even a general concern about our safety and security.
In the meantime, the safety and security of Minnesota's soldiers is on the line every day. Hundreds are in the Middle East now, more are going, and even more are headed to yesterday's hot spots.
Don't forget, in August of this year, we'll be shipping 1,000 people to Bosnia. And we also may pick up the Kosovo rotation, which is another 800 people. So a year from now, we could have 50, 60% of people deployed, no matter what happens in Iraq.
We'd analyze that and see if there's actually potential of getting a job when they come to ideas for different trainings that they'd want to go through. So we'd look at the viability of getting a job after that and approve training based on that information that we get.
Now, you need to know that under the unemployment insurance program, there's unemployment insurance. Like I said, the Trade Act is a federal program. It's been around since the 1930s, Trade Act since the 70s, and Dislocated Workers since the 80s. Okay, do you know how to go about doing that? When we had counsel found that your jobs were impacted by foreign competition, you're eligible for financial benefits, significant, generous financial benefits under the Trade Act program which means that the Trade Act can help pay for the employment plan that you've established with your dislocated worker counselor, so it can help pay tuition, books, and supplies, relocation, job search, and it can also extend your unemployment insurance up to a maximum, actually, of an additional 2 years over and above your unemployment insurance claim. Are a bit different under the three programs. So what we're here to talk to you about now.
While a war of bombs rages overseas,
And we're grieving for the death of democracy.
a war of words floods the streets here at home. Candles and songs were the signs of a peaceful protest in front of the Duluth Civic Center. Rosemary Thomas is one of those voices. She says she supports the troops, but not the cause.
The best way to support our troops is not to send them into this bloodbath.
Mary has a personal connection to the war. Several of her relatives have fought in other wars, including her father.
Now, he's 77 years old. Over 50 years later, he still has nightmares that he's there, that his squad has been hit. That he sees these men's bodies torn apart. He sees the burning bodies.
And Rosemary says that powerful story is a reminder of what she says will be history repeated.
If they come home at all, they're going to come home with memories of having killed children or having been killed or seeing their friends being killed by children. Half of Iraq's population is only 15 years or younger.
In small groups, nearly 200 protesters marched to the Veterans Memorial. Their message, a simple one.
We don't want another memorial to be built to recognize the mass killings of innocent people.
In Duluth, Rachel Burrich.
Our voices will not be forgotten.
News 6.
Tim is a chief petty officer in the Navy, but he's attached to the 1st Marine Expeditionary Force in Kuwait.
This is the latest snapshot Tim Toomey's parents received from their son at Camp Commando in the sandy Kuwaiti desert.
We get emails, and he even called us from Kuwait on the telephone.
But the last time they heard Tim's voice was 1 week ago.
He said, "Don't worry about us. We're very well trained, the morale is high, and everybody's just ready to go, you know." So.
Huge explosions.
Now with war underway, Tim's parents turn to their TV set, watching and praying for his safety.
That's the dripping fatigue factor, is that you have so many unknowns, you know, and it's always kind of dripping in the back of your mind, even if it's a subliminal concern, it's always there, you know.
Sirens hiding out in bunkers, rushing to put on gas masks. Tim's father knows his oldest son is among the soldiers.
Watching them put those masks on and off, it made you thankful that the equipment is new and is good.
But there was a scout about 10 miles from here to the northwest.
And with around-the-clock coverage of the war, the Toomeys are tuning in, hoping for a glimpse of their son on the battlefield.
Especially the wife, she said every time she sees a sea of military faces, she's looking for his face out there.
Back home, Tim the son, the brother, husband, and father is missed. Outside the Toomeys' home in Cloquet, a yellow ribbon will be added to the tree for each month he is overseas.
So he's been gone January and February, so I've got 2 ribbons started, and hopefully there won't be too many ribbons in the tree before he gets home.
Meantime, Mom is writing to her son at war, letting him know how much he's loved.
We love you, and you are in our prayers always. Take care and God bless, Mom and Dad.
Stacey Eckes, News 6.
region, help you to understand the current conflict in Iraq. Think hard about. I've seen that those who were wavering in the beginning have changed, and they want to support the troops. They want to support the military personnel, and I think basically that's what it is. It's not so much being in favor of the war as it is supporting those people who are there.
That's when it's nice to have the lights off. Has enough power to stage a coup. Yeah, this is done. We're done right now. All right, and that basically takes us up to where we're. And this, I'm old enough to remember, this was a huge deal, this Iran-Contra affair that was known, or the Iran-Contra scandal breaks.
Tape where he reads off the names and everybody starts crying, and some people.
Belief in Islam.
And who said on television that Hussein wasn't even.